Violenza non necessaria. Regola 9.1.12. Contatto con un avversario fuori dal gioco. B. Nessun giocatore può correre contro o lanciarsi contro un avversario che è chiaramente fuori dal gioco, sia prima che dopo che la palla sia dichiarata morta. Mofo 3.3. Blocco illegale nella schiena. D. Una botta nella schiena ad un giocatore lontano dall'azione può essere chiamata come violenza non necessaria. Questo fallo può essere chiamato a prescindere dal momento in cui avviene, indipendentemente da dove e quando è finita l'azione. Mofo 3.3. 12. Violenza non necessaria. A. Un'azione che avviene ben lontano dal gioco può essere classificata come fallo personale, anche se l'azione stessa è legale. In altre parole, è la posizione del giocatore rispetto al gioco che determina il fallo, non la legalità del contatto. B. Accertarsi che l'azione non sia giustificata dalla situazione di gioco, ad esempio un intercetto, un fumble o un gioco rotto. Se un giocatore è in una posizione che può influenzare il gioco o si sta muovendo nella direzione del gioco, egli è un obiettivo palese. Se al contrario sta fermo, non lo è. C. Non è fallo se due giocatori si stanno bloccando uno con l'altro. Vanno penalizzati solo i contatti contro un giocatore che non è preparato. A. Quando ci sono colpi non necessari lontano dalla palla morta, ma in prossimità della fine dell'azione, chiamateli come falli a palla morta piuttosto che falli a palla viva. B. Quando un giocatore viene colpito dopo che si è rilassato, il fallo deve essere automatico. C. Falli che sono chiaramente in ritardo contro un portatore di palla dopo che ha segnato un touchdown debbono essere chiamati.
In this first example, we're looking at the center, and it's going to happen right after the ball dies. So right there, he comes in and just levels a guy. Now, this is dead ball right there. The ball is dead, and he needs to know this. I mean, the play ends right in front of him, and he needs to see that B17 is not, I mean, he's moving slightly towards the ball, but he's stopping, and he's not participating in the down that's already gone. So we really need to be good dead ball officials and catch this, because when we don't catch this, this is the type of action that's going to create retaliation later on. So let's have a look at who needs to see this. Well, it happens right in front of the umpire. He certainly is a prime candidate to be able to see this. Backside wing might be able to see it. The deep wing on this side, or the back judge also could be looking at this, and the indicator is the way that everybody else is slowing down and 75 is speeding up. Once you see that, that's usually a break in the hand. So, you know, put on your wide angle so that you can see if somebody's speeding up, and then pick him up, because certainly especially the umpire should be able to see this. In comparison, let's have a look at this guard away from the camera and the way he's standing there, and then, you know, after the play ends, which is right there, which he can see, he decides to pick out number 38, who's just standing there. He's already stopped also, and just level him. But so we've got the same indicator, even though it's not open field the way it was in the previous play. Yeah, everybody is stopped, and the target is just standing around, and here comes somebody with a lot more speed than anybody else. But here the umpire is alert to it, and he actually calls it good flag, good pickup. And even the back judge also comes in with the flag. So here we've got really good coverage and good job by these two. So let's see what similar indicators that we have on this play. And I'm just going to let it roll, see if you can identify the culprit here So right there after the play. So basically what we're looking for is the guy, the white jersey on the 40-yard line right now. Now the play is not over yet, but it is now. And here he comes, and just completely unnecessarily, I don't know what he was thinking, but this certainly is a dead ball, unnecessary roughness. And who can see this? Well, the umpire is looking down that way. We also have 3 deep officials who should be looking in that area, and if nothing is going on for the wings, they might be looking in this general area. And again, once we see this guy coming in with more speed than the others, that's what we want to be looking at, and certainly we want to catch this potentially dangerous hit. The far tackle is the player we're looking at this time, and he's fine here, and then the runner goes and dies there, and then that happens. So again, we've got the runner down, and the tackle needs to know that. It happens in front of him, and then even behind the runner, he finds somebody just standing around and levels him. So this is certainly, it's after the play, and it is unnecessary roughness. And you can't really fault the wing for not seeing it, because he's probably focused on the runner and progress. But the center judge and potentially also the umpire certainly should be able to pick this up so that we catch this, because again, when we don't, this is the kind of thing that creates retaliation later on in the game. After this kickoff, we'll have one of the, as you'll see, one of the return team players right there on the 15. After the play, he picks out somebody who's just standing there because the play is over. I mean, you can tell by the guy gets hit. He just kind of lets up, and even if you have doubts whether the play is over or not, when you're in that gray area of was the play dead or wasn't it, then we want to go dead ball foul. And in this case, the referee calls it correctly, and certainly he should be looking there. Potentially the backside wing could also be looking there if he's not focused in on forward progress, but this certainly is an unnecessary hit that needs to be called as a personal foul. Here we're looking at the near tackle, not the tight end, but the tackle 54 that's coming out there, and then now he'll come back again well after the play is over, and he needs to be able to see that. I mean, it's right in front of him, and then he hits B5. Now this one is different in the sense that even with the ball being live, this would have been an illegal foul or an illegal block, and so we're not as lenient as we would be had there been a potential for this block to be legal. Had the ball still been alive, had the runner still been going, this could have been either a block in the back or a blindside block, depending on the forcefulness and the situation. But here, once the ball is dead, we can't go block in the back, we can't go blindside block. So this would be a correct call for personal foul, unnecessary roughness, or dead ball, unnecessary roughness. Before we move on to the legal plays, here we're looking at the guard away from the camera. He's going to pull around and do pass protection. So right there, he's okay with that first. Then that last second push is just too late and too much. This is clearly dead ball and as such, and therefore unnecessary roughness. I mean, the first part is okay. The ball is gone, but that's fine. And then he kind of lets go, and the defender eases up. and then he decides to make another push after the ball is clearly gone. So this certainly could be called as a dead ball, unsportsmanlike, or unnecessary roughness. And who needs to see this? Well, the wing on that side could certainly see it. The referee looks like he is looking at it and judged that it wasn't enough. I would certainly have supported a flag on this one. The closest tackle here, and these last two examples in this training table show legal action. There just isn't enough. Here he comes in and engages the white player there, but it's not super late, and the contact is not super forceful, and he even makes sure that the guy doesn't fall over, tries to hold him up. He comes in with his arms first, and then he tries to hold him up. So that's a good job of controlling yourself, and would be a good job or a good situation for the umpire or the center judge or whoever has a chance to just tell this guy, hey, good job holding up or letting up, so that they know that we're watching and they know where the line is. So this is a legal hit. In this last play, we're looking at the running back, and he's going to do pass protection here, and then he's going to do that. Now here we're getting right to the edge of what we can allow. I mean, timing wise, he knows the ball is gone, right? He's looking there, he knows the ball is gone, and as such his job is over, and yet he decides to run several steps, several yards over to B6, who's just standing there looking. His job is over. He didn't get to the quarterback, so he's now done with the game, or with the play too, and then he gets hit there, or the running back hits him. So I don't think this is quite forceful enough. Obviously, if B6 had gone flying more than he does, there certainly would be a call. And if this game is right on the edge, or the temperature of the game is close to boiling, this could be something that we would want to call just to control the game. But this certainly is very late, and something that we could consider calling, and a talk to would certainly be in place here. And something that we should consider doing, because otherwise, this will escalate. And who can see this? Well, the backside wing might be able to see it. The referee or center judge, whoever's on this side of the ball, might see it. I wouldn't necessarily expect the umpire, because this is the type of pass that where we would like the umpire to look at. So he would be looking there, which he does here correctly, and I also think it would be a difficult get for the deep officials, just simply because it still happens, in the box area there. But the backside wing or the referee here certainly should be able to pick this up and make sure that we have a talk to this guy if we decide this is not worth calling. And again, I only think this would need to be called if the temperature of the game mandated it. First play, we're looking at the running back, and he's not going to do anything, but he's going to get hit by a defensive player who really should be going for the ball. And in this case, I mean, the play's over here, and the defender then just decides to make a cheap shot. And again, if we have any doubts whether this is live ball or dead ball, we're going to go with the dead ball judgment. And B76 here should be going for the runner, should be going for the ball, and even though he tries to make it look like that's where he's going, this is really just a cheap shot, and certainly an unnecessary roughness. by this defender. Now, who should see this? The wing is probably focused on the runner here, so really potentially the umpire, but probably more likely the deep wing on this side or the back judge should be able to be cleaning up in this area. On this play, we're going to be looking in front of the play, so the run is going to come this side, or here comes the quarterback, and we're looking in front of the runner. So right now we can already see around the 32-33 yard line that the defender is lining up his target, and sure enough, here comes the hit, and it's clearly out of bounds. The runner is out of bounds now by a considerable margin, and you cannot argue that the defender is going for the ball or the runner. He is just going for this cheap shot, and that certainly is something that we want to be alert to and should be calling. So the umpire might be able to see it. The center judge might even be able to see it, just from the angle that they have. But really, we're looking for the deep wing and or the back judge to be able to pick this up, and the indicator again, or what we're looking for is everybody else is slowing down, and here is a defender speeding up, and we need to be able to pick that up and spot it, because for the deep wing and the back judge, it doesn't appear that there is much of anything else to be looking at, and this certainly is something that we would want to have called as a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. On this play, we're looking at the cornerback away from the camera, so B5, and for some reason he does that. Now, this is an interesting thing, or an interesting situation. I mean, it's clearly dead ball, it's clearly unnecessary, so this should be a dead ball personal foul for unnecessary roughness. So an interesting situation, because obviously the referee right now, and probably the wing on this side, will be looking at the ball just to make sure that the quarterback does recover the ball, it doesn't squirt out. And so this would be the only one who has a good chance to see this would be the line of scrimmage, the linesman over there. But if he gets sucked into looking at the ball, he may miss this, and I think that's what happens in this case. So for the backside wing, really put on your wide angle, so that we can. Even though this is a very unusual thing, this is something that we do need to call. On this play, we're looking at the two linebackers, traditional linebackers there. We're looking at the guy closest to the camera, and he's going to get into the offensive backfield. He's going to get a little shove there, and after the play, he's going to do that. Completely unnecessary, and we're seeing a pattern here. The ball is dead, and the defender, instead of going for the ball, he just finds somebody. Here it's a retaliatory act, but he just finds somebody and gives them a cheap shot. It's still football related, so it's not unsportsmanlike conduct, but this certainly is a dead ball, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. And who should be seeing this? Well, referee, center judge, the wings might be able to see it if it pops up, but certainly the backfield officials should be able to see this. So this certainly should be called. The last two examples are plays with legal action. And the first one, we're looking at the receiver here to the right, closest to the camera. So if we just follow him, he's going to engage this defender right there. And even though this last action here of pulling him to the ground is dead ball, it's really just a continuation of what happens here. So that starts inbounds, and this push is also, if not live ball, then certainly very, very close to live ball action. And then this is just a continuation. And you know, a defender is allowed to to pull away an offensive player who's trying to block him. So even though it ends up being dead ball, because it starts as live ball, we're fine with this action, and this does not rise to the level of dead ball, unnecessary roughness. In this last one, we're looking at the field judge key at the top of the screen away from the camera. So the receiver and the cornerback are just going to start dancing there, and then well after the play ends, the red player just happens to win. But again, it starts as a live ball, and it's just a continuation, and just because the red player was stronger, that doesn't really mean that he needs to be punished for or penalized for that. And another thing is, you know, this is from the start of the play. This is the field judge key. The wing is not even, the line judge is not even looking at it, nor should he be. And then right at the end, as the white player falls down, it catches the line judge's attention, and he throws a flag on it. Now, before you call something on somebody else's key, you really have to be sure that you saw everything. You saw, certainly that you saw enough, and that it's not just a knee-jerk reaction. And here, the field judge, as he should, comes up to question what the call was, and tries to offer his opinion on this as just being continuing action, and it not rising to the level of unnecessary roughness. And since it's the line judge's key or flag, obviously it's his determination, his decision to pick up the flag. But I would encourage anybody, certainly if something happens on your key, if somebody throws on your key, come up and question it. And if you do throw on somebody else's key, be very, very sure that you have it right, and that you have something that the primary official did not see or could not see. In this first example, we're looking at white 50, so B number 50 right there next to the snapper, and he's going to engage black 34, A34. And once they go down the field, white 50 is going to make this little push there, and this simply is not enough to crack an egg, so to speak. This is not what we're looking for in terms of unnecessary roughness. So this is not enough, and we'll get confirmation on that from the sideline view. Same play, different angle, so we're still looking at white 50 and black 34, and even though they're going to disappear here for a short while, they will come back into the camera right there, and there's the I hesitate to call it a hit. It's just a little hello, and certainly not something that rises to the level of a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, or a blindside block, or a blindside hit for that matter. If we want to, we can certainly have a talk to the number 50 and tell him how unnecessary it was, but again, it's not enough for a flag. We continue with blocks that are not unnecessary roughness. Here we're looking at the center, A57, and this is just not enough for an unnecessary roughness. We really want something that stands out as almost non-football related. And here the defender, the white player, the white jersey, is moving towards the play, so he's not out of the play per se. So this is not, and we'll get back to examples of that, this is not unnecessary roughness. What it is instead is a personal foul blindside block. This is open field, even though this was the pit when the play started. At this point, this is open field. This is from the blind side, and it certainly is forceful. So instead of talking about unnecessary roughness here, we should be talking about a blindside block. And in a crew of 8, certainly the referee or center judge could be cleaning up their backside wing. Should be cleaning up there. In a crew of 8, it would be difficult for the referee since he is following the quarterback, but here we would have to rely on the backside wing to see something like this. In this example, we're looking at the receiver closest to the camera here. So this is going to be A10. And the run is going to go to the other side, and then he's going to engage B5 right there. And again, B5 is even though he's far away from the ball, he is pursuing the play, so he's not as such out of the play, and therefore we can't go unnecessary roughness. But what it is a blindside block. Certainly is open field, certainly is from the blind side, and it certainly is forcible. So we've got all three check marks here. So again, not unnecessary roughness, but certainly personal foul, blindside block. In this play, we're looking at the left guard A18. And how often do you get to say the guard number 18? But in any case, it is number 18 here. And, you know, we're seeing a pattern here. He's going to right there hit green number 67, and again 67 is moving towards the play, so as such he's not out of the play, but this is open field, it is from the blind side, and it is forcible contact. So instead of unnecessary roughness here, let's just go personal foul, blindside block. On this play, again, we're looking at the receiver closest to the camera, and again, the play is going to go away from us and right there. So it's not unnecessary roughness per se, but it certainly is a blindside block. It's open field, it's from the blind side, and it is forceful contact. So again, the defender is moving towards the play, so he's not out of the play, so that's why it's not unnecessary roughness, but certainly a blindside block. We're now moving on to situations where the contact does warrant an unnecessary roughness, and we're looking at the to the right of the screen, the safety or the cornerback or whatever he is, with the black sleeves here. And the play is going to be an interception going to that sideline, and we've got these two players right there in the middle who are just standing there, and here comes our safety and just levels the guy. Now the difference from the previous ones is obviously that this guy is standing alone, completely non-participating in the play, completely out of the play, and both of those players are out of the play, so that hit is completely unnecessary, and that's why it's a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Now in terms of who should see this, certainly the back judge looks like he is getting caught into looking too much at the runner, and you know, we've got a deep wing and we've got a short wing over there covering the play, so the runner and that area of the field is well taken care of. So the back judge, or you know, the backside deep wing would be better off cleaning up. And whenever you see somebody coming in with that kind of speed away from the ball, that's always a brick in the hand, something that we need to keep an eye on. And sure enough, this is something that we should have called in this situation. On this one, we're looking at the center, and he's going to engage there, and the guy's going to fall down, and then he's going to do that. Now that is just completely unnecessary. I mean, right there we've got the guy, he's on the ground, he is defeated, and the center is standing up, he's not losing his balance or anything, and then he decides to jump. down into the face of the defender. Completely unnecessary and should have been called as a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Now, the official with the best angle to see this would be the umpire, but the umpire is following his mechanics according to the mofo that says that when the ball is thrown, you turn around and you look at the end of the play. However, on these types of passes where the ball goes far down the field, it is very, very unlikely that the umpire is going to be able to help with any kind of catch, no catch situation down the field. So sometimes, if he had stayed with the offensive backfield for just a second longer, he would have been able to get a serious or cover a serious situation here with safety involved. Whereas now that he turns around, he is of absolutely no help to us. So as an umpire here, if you were able to stay with the line for just another second and make sure that every contact here is over, especially on a type of pass like this, that's deep pass down the sideline where there's very, very little chance that you will be able to help with catch, no catch. If you can stay with the offense and defensive line for just a second longer, you'd be able to pick something like this up. Here's a similar play. The left guard, so the guard away from the camera, he's going to pull or trap the defensive lineman, and right there. So again, we've got a situation where the red jersey has won, the white jersey is on the ground, and the red jersey is in balance or has not lost his balance, and he then decides to come down, and it almost looks like an elbow to the face. So this certainly is a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, completely unnecessary after he's made a successful block, and the referee is looking right there. He should be the one to call this, and that would be a good one to get in this situation. In this last example, we're looking at the tackle, the offensive tackle closest to the camera, A77. And his action is going to be similar to the last couple of examples. Again, right now he's won the day. The defender's on the ground, and he's standing up. He's not lost his balance. Then he decides to jump into and it almost looks like a headbutt to the defender's head. So this certainly is a good call by the referee in this case for a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. And depending on the formation, this would be a referee call or a wing call. Crew of 8, center judge would be involved, but in the backfield, certainly something the referee should be looking at. So good call by the referee, and something that we need to call. In this first example, we're looking at the cornerback away from the camera, so up in the corner there, and everything looks fine to begin with. He's covering his receiver, and then he does that right there at the end. So right when he realizes that he's not going to be able to participate in the play and the runner is going out of bounds, he decides to do that completely unnecessary hit on the receiver there, who's really, he's running in that direction, but he's really not participating in the play. So this is unnecessary roughness, simply because it is, one, completely unnecessary, and it is certainly rough enough. The degree of the contact is enough that this is something that if we don't react to this this is going to create revenge or payback later in the game, and then it's just going to go escalate from there. So it's a very good job by the back judge to see this, and we actually also have this action from his angle. And here's the end zone shot, the back judge shot, and the cornerback obviously is going to come from the right, B29. And here he comes. And the back judge really does a very good job of moving out to the side. This is more of a mechanical issue, but he does an excellent job of moving towards the sideline where all the action is. Because as you can see, all the players are out here, and anything that happens behind him will be cleaned up by the backside sideline officials. But here 29 is lining up number A17, and right there you can even see, you know, how forceful the contact is, and 17 even is at a risk of getting injured from this hit. So very, very good cleanup by this back judge. In this example, we're also looking at the cornerback at the top of the screen, and we'll notice that this turns into a running play to this side of the field, and the receiver really is not running around. He's really not. He's not coming up to block the cornerback. He's just kind of running and looking at the play. He's not really participating. So this hit by the defender, while maybe legal in its own right, is totally unnecessary. And again, this also is going to lead to retaliation and payback later in the game if we don't call stuff like this, because it is just so totally unnecessary that this is a good call by this deep wing for a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. On this play, we're looking at the outside linebacker B31 away from the camera, and he's going to do two different hits that will very well illustrate right there and then right there, illustrate the difference in what we're talking about. So this one right there is okay. He is still trying to get to the ball, to the runner. He's still doing what he needs to do as a defender, moving towards where the ball is and in an attempt potentially to make the tackle. Now, once he realizes that he no longer has an opportunity to get to the runner before the play is over, he decides to level A44 from the back. So the first one right there, let's do it again. First one right there is okay. That is within the rules. The second one is just a cheap shot, and I'm sure that that A44 did not take kindly to that. So when we don't call that, that is going to create problems down the road. On this play, we're looking at the defensive line, the nose tackle. In other words, the third guy in on the line of scrimmage here in the box. And initially, he's going to get double teamed. And now the ball is passed all the way to the numbers on the other side. And right there, this guy just decides to level the defensive or the offensive lineman. And this is, again, you know, we're seeing a pattern here. The ball is completely gone. He is no longer doing what he needs to be doing as a defender. He just picks out somebody and takes them out. And if we don't see this, if we don't call this, this is going to cause problems down the road. In this situation, typically either the referee or probably more relevant, the wing would be the one to clean this up. It looks like this wing at the bottom of the screen is too focused on the ball all the way, 50 yards away from him, where his eyes would be better spent cleaning up behind the play, because we've got enough officials covering the ball and the players on the other side of the field, and nobody watches this defender level A74. On this play, we're looking at a yellow player, so a Swedish player, and the hit is going to happen on the 45-yard line right there, or the 46. So let's put a little context into this. So it's a punt, and the ball is rolling around, so there is no return, and there's not going to be any return. At least that's what it looks like when the hit happens. The guy being hit is not participating in this play at this point, so he's completely helpless. And if we look at the guy making the hit, he's not, even though he's going in that direction, he's not going for the ball. You can tell by the way he's running down the field and speeding up that he just realizes that he's got a free shot at basically a cheap shot here. So this is not going to the ball. This is not blocking an opponent as part of the play. This is just seeing your opportunity and taking a potentially dangerous cheap shot at an opponent, and this is something that we do need to call. Now again, if he was going legitimately for the ball, if he was going for the runner, if he was trying to participate in the play, he is welcome. He is more than welcome to go through an opponent to get there. But here, I think this is just taking a cheap shot and getting away with it. On this play, all we have to do is follow A55, the up back number 55 there. And the ball is going to get kicked here, and he's going to run down the field. And as you can see, somebody tries to block him, and he doesn't take kindly to that, so he retaliates completely unnecessarily in the back. But this is more than a block in the back. This is so much that we're going to go personal foul, unnecessary roughness on it. But let's just go back for a little while and have a look at the umpire here, because the umpire does a good job of turning around with the players, and now he's cleaning up. And that is the reason that he actually sees this action and calls it. He does an excellent job first of mechanics of turning around with the players, and then he does an excellent job of cleaning up, so we actually catch 55 with this unnecessary cheap shot. The last two examples in this training tape are legal hits, or action that is deemed to be legal. We're looking at the inside trips receiver here, and he's going to do a little out pattern, and then he's going to get blocked. But when he gets blocked, first of all, I think this is enough in the side that it's not in the back. You can also see how he lands on his side. So it's not enough for a block in the back. And when the block happens, right there, right here is where the contact happens, he is still an eligible receiver, and the pass is still possible, so the defenders are still allowed to block him. So all in all, this does not rise to the same level of unnecessary roughness as the previous plays, and the same is the case for the last play of this tape. In this last example, or last play of the training tape, we're looking at the nearest receiver. And he's going to come across here, and when you go across like that as a receiver, you have to know that you may run into a linebacker, which is exactly what happens here. And you see the hit is from the front, and when the hit happens, a pass is still possible. So he is still a receiver, and the defender is perfectly in his right to make this block. Now, had this happened out close to the sideline and it was a running play to the other side, this certainly could be an unnecessary roughness. Here, it's a perfectly legal hit, and it's good defense to knock down the receivers when you do it legally, and this is just a legal hit.